The two people I loved the most, my wife Emily and my younger brother Jason, stabbed me in the back in the worst way possible. My name is Daniel Carter, and up until 6 months ago, I would have said I had the perfect life. A loving wife, Emily, a successful career, and a close-knit family, especially my younger brother, Jason. We grew up sharing everything. Turns out, he took that literally. It started with the little things, the kind of stuff you brush off at first because you don't want to believe it. Emily had always been affectionate, but suddenly she was distant. She'd pull away when I hugged her, lost in thought. At first, I blamed work. She was a nurse, and the long shifts at the hospital were draining. But then, the phone thing started. She'd always been glued to her phone. Who isn't these days? But now, she angled the screen away when I walked by. If I asked who she was texting, she'd say, "Just Sarah from work," or "Mom," but her fingers moved too fast, like she was deleting something. Then came the late nights. "Another double shift?" I asked one evening, stirring pasta on the stove as she rushed out the door. "Yeah, staffing issues," she said, avoiding my eyes. "Don't wait up." But when I called the hospital later to see if she wanted me to bring her dinner, the charge nurse said, "Emily?" She left at 5. That's when the pit in my stomach opened up. The coincidences that weren't coincidences. Jason had always been around. He was family, after all. But lately, he was always there, dropping by when Emily was home alone. "Just checking in," he'd say. Or, "I was in the neighborhood." One night, I came home early from a work trip. The house was dark except for the flicker of the TV. Upstairs. I called out, "Em?" No answer. Then I heard laughter. Her laugh. The one she used to reserve only for me. I crept up the stairs, my pulse hammering in my ears. The bedroom door was slightly open. And that's when I saw them. Emily, in my shirt, the one she always slept in. Jason, sitting way too close on our bed, his hand brushing her knee. I must have made a sound because Jason turned. His face went pale. Emily jumped up, her eyes wide with panic. "Daniel, it's not what you think." But it was. The way they looked at each other, the guilt, the fear. It was all the confirmation I needed. The truth comes out, sort of. I didn't yell. I didn't even speak. I just turned and walked out, got in my car, and drove. No destination, just away. Emily blew up my phone. "Please let me explain. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything." When I finally came home, she was waiting, tear-streaked and shaking. "It only happened once," she swore. But I wasn't stupid. I checked her phone that night while she slept. Deleted texts, a hidden folder of photos, hotel receipts, and the worst part? A missed call from her OB/GYN. She was pregnant. The DNA test. "Is it mine?" I asked flatly the next morning. She burst into tears. "Of course it's yours. How could you even ask?" But I had to ask. Because the dates didn't add up. Because Jason had been around too much. The test came back 2 weeks later. Probability of paternity, 0%. Biological father, likely a close male relative. I stared at the results, my vision blurring. My own brother, my wife. And now, a baby that should have been mine. I filed for divorce the next day. I used to think heartbreak was just a word. Then I sat in a lawyer's office signing divorce papers while my pregnant wife, no, ex-wife, was across town, probably in his arms. The DNA results didn't just destroy my marriage. They burned my whole life to the ground. The aftermath. Emily begged. Oh God, did she beg. "Daniel, please, it was a mistake. We were drunk, it meant nothing." Funny how cheaters always say that. It meant nothing. Then why did I find receipts for 4 different hotels? Why were there selfies of them tucked in a hidden folder on her phone? Photos taken months before I caught them. I threw her out that night. Changed the locks, let her cry on the porch for an hour until she finally left. The brother I no longer. No, Jason didn't even try to apologize. When I confronted him, he just shrugged and said, "It just happened. Like tripping over a curb, like spilling coffee. Not like destroying your brother's life, our parents." They took his side. "Boys, don't throw away a lifetime of brotherhood over a woman." Over a woman? She was my wife. The baby she's carrying has his DNA, not mine. But sure, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. The last straw. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, Emily showed up at my door, crying, swollen belly. "I need you," she whispered, and for 1 weak, pathetic second, I almost let her in. Then she said the words that sealed it forever. "Jason left me." That's when I laughed. Actually laughed, because of course he did. The guy who stole his brother's wife wasn't exactly husband material. I closed the door in her face. What? Now. So here I am, 34 years old, divorced, betrayed by my own blood. And you know the sickest part? Some nights I still miss her. But that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't kill your love, it just poisons it. And I'll be damned if I let that poison take me down too. They say when your world ends, you'll hear the crash, but that's not true. When I walked out of that doctor's office with the DNA results in my hand, the world didn't shatter like glass. It just stopped. Like someone had pressed pause on my life. The parking lot noises, the cars driving by, it all turned into white noise. All I could see were those words, % probability of paternity. The first 72 hours, I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just sat on the couch, staring at my wedding photo. On the wall, Emily in her white dress, smiling like I was the only man in the world. How long had she been lying to me? I went through her phone again. Really went through it this time. Deleted texts, a secret email account. And then I found it. A confirmation for a hotel room 2 days before our anniversary. The same anniversary where she'd kissed me and said, "Let's try for a baby." She was already pregnant, by my brother. The confrontation. I didn't plan what I'd say to Jason. I just showed up at his apartment at 3 a.m. and punched him so hard I broke his nose. He didn't even fight back. Just sat there, blood dripping down. His face saying, "I'm sorry, man. I never meant for this to happen." "Bullshit," I spat. "You meant to fuck my wife. You just didn't mean to get caught." The divorce papers, Emily cried when I handed them to her. "Daniel, please. We can fix this." "Fix what?" I asked. "The fact that you've been sleeping with my brother for months? Or the fact that you were going to let me raise his kid?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. Good. The family fallout, my parents defended him. "People make mistakes," Mom said. "You can't throw away your brother over this." "Over this?" I laughed. "He didn't steal my car, Mom. He stole my life." Dad just shook his head. "You're overreacting." That's when I walked out. The last time I saw her, Emily showed up at my door a month later, her belly just starting to show. "Jason left me," she whispered. "I should have felt something. Anger, victory, something. But all I felt was tired." "Yeah," I said. "That's what he does." Then I closed the door. The aftermath. So now I'm here. Alone. Some days I'm so angry I can't breathe. Other days I just feel nothing. But the worst part, I still love her. And I hate myself for it. Music fades to silence. A beat of quiet before the outro. This isn't the end of the story, because in 3 months that baby will be born, and when it is, I'll have to decide if I ever want to see it. The baby was born on a Tuesday. I found out through a text from my mother. No call, no warning, just 3 cold words. "It's a boy." I didn't respond. What was there to say? Congratulations? To the brother who stole my wife? To the woman who lied to me every day for months? But then the photo came. Just one. No message. Just a newborn wrapped in a blue blanket. Tiny fists clenched, face still red from birth. My nephew. Or, no, not mine, not really. Just a stranger with my brother's eyes and the woman I loved smile. I deleted it. Then fished it out of my trash folder an hour later, stared at it until my vision blurred. The first legal shot Jason filed for full custody 2 weeks later. Not because he wanted to be a father, please. The guy couldn't commit to a gym membership. No. He did it because Emily dared to ask for child support. My lawyer slid the papers across his desk. He's claiming she's an unfit mother, says she's unstable after the divorce. I laughed so hard it hurt. She cheated, not strung out on meth. But then I saw the attached evidence. Photos of empty wine bottles in her trash. A screenshot of a late-night Instagram post she'd since deleted. Some days I don't know how to keep breathing. Jason's play was clear. Take the kid, punish her, and dump the actual parenting on our mother. And Emily? She showed up at my door that night, the midnight confession. She looked hollow. Dark circles, unwashed hair, that same damn maternity shirt she'd worn when she told me she was pregnant with my child. "He's going to take him from me," she whispered. I should have shut the door. Should have let her drown in the mess she made. But then she said the one thing I never expected. "The baby's sick, Daniel." Turns out little Noah had a heart defect. Needed surgery. And Jason? He'd already told the court he'd handle the medical decisions. He won't. Emily choked out. He'll just sign whatever the cheapest option is. You know how he is. I did. The choice. So here's where I am now. Do I walk away? Let the two people who destroyed me destroy each other? Or do I step into that courtroom? Not for her, not for Jason, but for a kid who didn't ask for any of this? I always thought the worst day of my life was finding them together. Turns out, it might be the day I have to choose whether to save their son. Long pause. Voice breaks slightly. And, God help me, I think I already know the answer. The courtroom smelled like cheap coffee and regret. I told myself I was only here for Noah, that sick little baby who didn't deserve any of this. But the second I saw Jason swagger in with his lawyer, that old rage boiled up again. He looked smug, like this was all some game he was winning. Emily sat across the aisle, gripping a tissue so tight her knuckles turned white. She hadn't noticed me yet. Good. I wasn't ready for that. Then the judge walked in, and hell officially began. The dirty tricks, Jason's lawyer went first. Your Honor, my client is deeply concerned about the child's welfare. The mother has exhibited erratic behavior. Late-night social media posts, alcohol abuse, even leaving the infant unattended. That's a lie, Emily burst out. The judge slammed his gavel. Control your client, counselor. I watched Jason smirk. Classic move. Accuse her of everything he'd actually done. I knew for a fact he was the one who'd left Noah alone last month when he forgot to pick him up from daycare. Our mother had covered for him, like always. Then came the bombshell. We've also uncovered concerning medical history, Jason's lawyer said smoothly. The mother's family has a pattern of mental illness. Her own sister was hospitalized for... Emily made a sound like a wounded animal. That's when I stood up. The truth comes out. Your Honor, I said. I can confirm Jason Carter is full of shit. The whole room froze. Even the stenographer stopped typing. The judge glared. And you are? Daniel Carter, the respondent's brother, and the man she was married to when she had the affair that produced this child. A gasp went through the room. Jason's face turned purple. I dropped my own folder on the table. Here's Jason's DUI from last year. While he had a suspended license, here's his eviction notice for unpaid rent. And this? I held up a bank statement. His account overdrawn by $3,000, the same month he stopped paying child support. Emily was crying silently. Jason looked like he wanted to murder me. The judge sighed. We're adjourning for today. Counselors, my chambers. Now. The parking lot showdown. Jason cornered me outside. You traitorous bastard, he hissed. You'd side with that slut over your own blood. I grabbed him by the collar. That slut is raising your sick kid while you play games. And my blood? I shoved him back. You poisoned that the second you climbed into my bed. He swung at me. Missed. I didn't miss. When security pulled us apart, I spat blood on the asphalt and looked him dead in the eye. Noah's getting that surgery, and you're gonna pay for every cent. Or I take this to the press, how the devoted dad tried to abandon his dying son. The hospital waiting room. 2 weeks later, I sat across from Emily in the pediatric ICU. Noah was tiny in that hospital. Bassinet. Wires everywhere. Why did you do it? She whispered. I watched the monitors beep. Not for you. A long silence. Then, so quiet I almost missed it. I never meant to love him. I didn't answer. Some truths don't deserve a response. The letter. They discharged Noah yesterday. This morning, I got an envelope. No return address. Inside was a photo of him smiling, healthy, and a single line. He has your frown. I burned it. Then I drove to the courthouse and filed a petition for visitation rights. I never thought I'd be back in this courtroom. The same wooden benches. The same stale air. The same judge peering down at us like we were some tragic rerun of a show nobody wanted to watch anymore. But this time, Jason brought a gun. The last stand it. Happened so fast. 1 minute, the judge was reading the custody modification order, granting me supervised visitation with Noah. The next, Jason was screaming, "You don't get to take my son!" The first gunshot shattered the overhead light. Glass rained down as people dove for cover. I saw Emily clutch Noah to her chest and run for the exit. Jason swung the barrel toward her, and I tackled him. We crashed into the jury box, the gun skidding across the floor, his fist connected with my jaw. I tasted blood. Didn't matter. I'd tasted worse these past months. He's mine, Jason spat, wild-eyed. My son. My family. I pinned him down, my knee on his chest. You lost the right to call him family when you made him a weapon. The aftermath. They sentenced Jason to 15 years. Assault with a deadly weapon. Attempted kidnapping. Violation of a dozen restraining orders. Emily testified against him. So did I. Noah's almost 2 now. Calls me Unca Dan. Has my stubborn chin but his mother's laugh. The heart defect? Corrected with surgery. He'll live a normal life. Emily and we don't talk much. Just polite exchanges during visitation handoffs. Sometimes I catch her staring at me with those old familiar eyes, but the woman I married died the day she betrayed me. The unexpected truth. Last week my mother finally broke down. I failed you, she sobbed over coffee. I kept making excuses for Jason because I couldn't face what he'd become. I didn't forgive her. But I didn't walk away either. Some scars don't fade. The ending. You deserve. So here's the truth. Straight from a man who's lived it. Betrayal doesn't end when the story does. It lingers in empty bedrooms and family photos you can't bear to look at. In holidays spent alone and birthdays where the phone never rings. But if you're listening to this, if you're hurting like I hurt, know this. You survive. Not because it gets easier, but because you get stronger, and one day, you'll wake up and realize, the best revenge isn't hatred, it's living well without them. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And check my other videos, because sometimes, the darkest stories teach the brightest lessons.